Love, the thing the Bible from God Himself calls the highest value, that force which pulls humans together. This word means all of that, but it also means, does she like me? Ooh. Relationships, dating, flirting. The word love has become bound to the idea of romance, which makes sense because though love can be found in other places, societally we find the most strong love to be found in romance usually. But as technology has risen, I think that the culture around love has changed. Spoiler alert, mostly for the worst. This video is more social commentary and ranty than the videos I made before. I hope you enjoy it. Riz, looks maxing, yacht. These dumb words exist at the sad cusp of our modern culture, and I think give us a great and honestly kind of depressing look into where it's at as we stand. So what is Riz? Can't believe this is what my videos have come to. Riz stands for charisma and is your ability to talk to women. Okay, you've all heard it before. But what stands at the center of this word? Maybe I'm overthinking it and I'm being pretentious and pompous, but it is the idea that making a person like you is a skill that you can develop. And to obtain a person, you have a certain threshold of that skill that you need to employ. You see a girl that's pretty? Riz her up. Use your Riz. You fail? Bro does not have enough Riz. I think charisma is certifiably a real thing. There have always, throughout history, been people who are more successful at garnering interest from others and being attractive in swaying social situations. But this idea that you can do the right things and make somebody like you, I just don't know if I believe in it. There are definitely, without a doubt, things that you can do to make a person uninterested.
Good morning, Starshine.
The cursed, stupid, silly word on screen proves that. But I don't really think there is Riz. Riz game, whatever you want to call it, is taking who you are and presenting it to someone else. Like a Shark Tank pitch. And you can fail at that, sell yourself short. But the most successful Riz would be to take a product, that somebody else is interested in, and deceive them and make them think that they're interested and then invest in it. But I just cannot believe that that would lead to a meaningful connection. So the real most successful Riz would just be to be honest and only get people who are actually interested in who you are to invest in your product or, decide to invest time in you and care in a relationship. Why would you ever want to be with somebody who just doesn't like who you honestly are? I feel like there's this whole idea that people get in their heads, especially when you become interested in somebody who is societally agreed to be out of your league.
Which is another phrase which proves that the idea that I'm talking about is much older than the word Riz, but I think it's coming to the forefront of the cultural vision.
Anyway, when people like someone out of their league, they have this whole thought that that person is more worthy of love, attention, and affection, and they need to raise their worth, become more worthy to ever obtain that person. So they try to Riz or increase their value, which leads to looks maxing. I think when it comes to people, it's really confusing because on one hand, if you only like the idea of who somebody could be, what they would be in the future if they were changed, I don't think it's worth being in a relationship with that person. But at the same time, I guess you hope that people can change. And I feel like in my own life and within my friends, I've seen that they have changed and become better. But I don't think you're ever unworthy of another person and you need to increase your worth and impress that person to make them like you. Anyway, back to the idea of looks maxing. Trying to be better and look better is a great thing. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I'd say it's even a positive force. But I think the drive behind the change that you're trying to make is almost just important as the change itself. Because if you are trying to be better for this vapid social attention, I think that you're gonna find that you have a hole in your soul and heart that's much bigger, or which can be much better filled by something actually meaningful, and you're trying to fill it with something that just won't ever do that, which is again this vapid attention from others. And I think the problem isn't that you don't like how you look, even though maybe you do have a problem with that. It's more that you're looking for fulfillment in the wrong places. Another part of dating, romance, flirt culture, whatever, that I think really ties to looks maxing and this whole idea of looking better is human ranking. She's a 6, bro. She's a 10. Girl, drop him. He is a 4. And honestly, this rating system is natural. We are comparative creatures. We want to know how people stack against other people. There, at the end of the day, are people that are pretty and people who are beautiful, and you end up wasting however much time thinking about them. And when we're talking to other people, instead of giving a proper description about what we liked about them, why it went well, why you like them but maybe not as much, it's easier to just use a number because people don't want to listen to all that. They just want to know where that person ranks on this scale and where they can put them in their head to just put themselves in the story a bit. Again, I fully understand why people use this system, and I don't think it's some great moral transgression, but honestly, I just don't think that people people operate this way, instead of the out of 10 ranking system, I would propose the binary spectrum. I think for the most part, you either are or aren't attracted to a person when you first meet them. And I think that though this can change, this is a huge separation between thinking somebody's attractive and not seeing it. But I think that once you like somebody, think they're pretty to look at, so much can change. Somebody can go from being just pretty and then they're smiling, talking about something they like, instant 10. There is so much outside of physical immediate attraction that can make a person attractive that I honestly think day by day, case by case, anybody who you find to be pretty can go anywhere from the most beautiful woman on earth to Humans are just so complicated. There are so many things that I just think that trying to put this number on physical attraction, again, it's a hugely important part of a relationship because you're doubtful to actually ever learn more about a person if you don't even have a starting physical interest in them. But I still just think, again, this spectrum just isn't how we actually operate as people. Even if we use this ranking system, a 10 for me and a 10 for you are just totally different things because we have different tastes. So what are we even communicating here? Just like, I don't know, we can use more words that are more accurate, I think. Nonchalant texting battles. To me, this is the peak of modern stupidity, and I am included in this. I am not above anybody for any of the things I've talked about before. But if you're texting somebody, employ strong hints that you aren't interested, or be honestly interested. This whole thing of trying to be like a little interested but not too interested, it is so dumb. The half effort to show that you care but not that much is just so exhausting. And it feels terrible for everybody involved. And I have to say to all of the guys watching out there, if texting the girl that you like is always a harrowing experience where you're finding the perfect question to keep the conversation going, it might not be working out. When people are honestly really interested in each other, this phase of stupid, leaving each other on read or delivered or all that is typically a pretty short thing. But then people get mixed feelings, hot and cold cycles, and then you have these stupid nonchalant text battles which go on for way too long. And now let's talk about the big one, mixed feelings, relational imbalance. I like you more than you like me. In a perfect world, people would like each other equally and get into relationships and be done. But we live in the messy, gross, disgusting real world where nothing ever goes that easily. Not liking a person honestly is really easy. You just act like you don't like them, and usually even the most dense person in the world will not go for somebody who clearly has zero interest in them. But this doesn't happen because being human is wanting to be wanted by other people. Another person wanting you is like a drug. Being liked by somebody else is just so validating. Imagine another person gathering up all the information they know about you and just deciding, I like that. I want to be around that more often. It's just amazing. It's a wonderful feeling, especially when they're a cool or respectable person. But there's a problem. You like them, but you don't like them how they like you. And now, boom, you are in the worst possible scenario. Because there is a person who has a lot of feelings and a person who is getting a drug at their expense. It is so difficult to break this attachment because honestly, both sides are getting something huge. The liked person is getting all of this good treatment, affection, and kindness, maybe from a respectable person. And because the other person really likes the person they like, all of the small attention and kindness and idea that maybe more could happen is like 10 times what they're actually getting. And both sides, again, are profiting in some way in this silly transaction, but really they're both hurting each other. Ugh, this whole thing, it just makes me sad. If you know a friend who has been crushing on someone for a while, this is probably the scam that they are involved in. Also, it's worth saying that the person receiving affection is not just always clearly in the wrong. This silly thing that happens is so case by case, and I'm sure if you averaged out all of the 50-50 relationships where somebody likes somebody or there's a talking stage going on, it would probably be about 50-50 whose fault is what. But this misunderstanding of the goals and desires with the relationship just make things so weird. Then these two people start seeing each other outside of school or work or wherever they met, add some commitment issues, and bam. Also, this whole idea of a relational imbalance, I think works with all relationships, friendships, within your family, within work. People just need to have the same page and idea for where things are going and how the people feel about each other within that relationship. In a ranty, self-indulgent video, this has been the most ranty, self-indulgent part, but please, these unbalanced relationships will genuinely drain you of all your emotional health and happiness. Please stay out of them. They are not worth it. Just find a way to balance relationships, please. I feel like there's this uncomfortable elephant in the room when talking about modern dating culture. There are a million prawn bad videos on this platform, and I really don't care to make another one of them. But I simply feel the need to say technology has given a way for people to escape and feel kind of a false feeling of love at any time, whenever they want, which I think honestly does hurt our ability to make genuine connections with others. So let's look back at what I've talked about. Riz, looks maxing, human ranking, nonchalant texting, relational imbalance, prawn. And I've had a question to ask about these things. Do they really involve other people in a direct, honest way? The amount of clear communication with another person involved in any of these things is really low, which I think is honestly the core issue of modern culture in a much broader sense, with so many issues, but also in dating and flirting and romance culture. Instead of talking to people we're interested in an honest, direct way to try to communicate how we feel or what we might want, we would talk about these people to other people with a human ranking. We talk to them a little bit in these stupid, nonchalant text battles. We create relationships which are entirely imbalanced. When we aren't physically satisfied, we turn to digital replacements. We try our best to entice them with a way of being better, which is just very surface level and false. And then the entire time you're building up this huge idea for who this person is that just isn't honest, and you're putting all these expectations on them that go to a non-human level, and then obviously you end up disappointed. All people have the capacity to be really evil, but most of them are about as evil and as good as whoever you are. So talk to them. And I'm telling you, if a girl or guy is not interested in you, you can probably tell. And it's so much better just asking and being honest and doing all of this crazy stuff trying to impress somebody who just isn't compatible. And if someone rejects you, that does not automatically make them evil. People who immediately hate the person that they were trying to be in a relationship before, that's just so cringe unless they actually did something really obviously bad. Like, please stop doing this thing. It's so weird. But if somebody rejects you, it honestly probably says more about them than you. Keep living a life that you are proud of and speak to people, because I think under socialization and a lack of honest communication is the root of so many not good things. And again, any statement that I said that tried to sound like a moral statement, trust me, I am not better than whoever you are, viewer. I am just trying to say my opinion. This is a
Zero research video. There are no graphs, no statistics. This is purely based on the research of having lived a life, which honestly is super valid. Like, who are you to try to put statistics on my human experience? You have one that is equally valuable. So maybe if we all just share our honest opinions, we'll kind of learn a lot more, because I think statistics won't get us so far. So yeah, trust the research of having lived your own life. That's pretty good.
Thank you so much for watching. This video is kind of weird and silly and strange, but I hope you enjoyed it. That's all. Bye-bye.